What got you into Cambridge?
Probably one of my mental illnesses.
Directly insulting the work of someone sat in front of you. It's a bit interesting.
It was unknowingly. I've spoken to these people since. They do not remember this.
Okay.
So do not watch this YouTube video.
I guess from the accent, it's pretty clear that I grew up in the north of England.
Yorkshire.
Yeah, in Yorkshire, which I don't hear the end of that because people trying to imitate the accent and things like that.
Sorry. Fill in the blank. My degree is...
I can't say that word.
No, go for it.
Sexy.
Sexy.
Hell yeah.
That is in fact the theme of our charity musical that we're putting on at the weekend. Villain is called Lord Business and he is trying to corporatise the chapel.
Love capital.
Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Liberty and welcome to a video in which I will be interviewing a whole range of King's students, people who go to uni with me, and find out what their experience of Cambridge is like. Expect stupid answers and absolutely no helpful application advice, but I hope it will be a fun time. Enjoy!
I'm also a very keen rower and captain the boat club.
Whoa.
Because at Cambridge you can't get away from rowing.
It terrifies me. My degree is...
Hard. I'm always putting stuff on my Snapchat story, weird things I find in books, like belly button metaphors with Thomas Hobbes.
If you could describe King's in one word, what would it be?
Chaos.
Chaos.
Absolute chaos. Different sorts of events we have to the bureaucracy of King's and the internal workings, which having been here for 2 years, I still don't quite know how it works. And I think probably even the people that do work within that bureaucracy still don't really know.
Yeah.
But it somehow manages to keep moving forward. I'm not entirely sure how.
A wonder every day.
She stole a Harry face, like a Harry cardboard face.
Yeah.
And I found it in the kitchen, I put it in the oven. So that when you walked in, you just see his eyes peering out.
Wait, can you come and show that to the camera?
Harry Styles in the oven.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here. Scones or scones?
Scones? Obviously.
Neither. I hate them.
Wow. Wow, bold opinions on the internet.
So for one of my papers, we have to do like at least one pre-1751. And I was in a supervision. Yeah, no, I know.
Where am I from? I'm from Amersham in South Buckinghamshire near London.
I'm slightly concerned that it stopped filming. No! Fabulous.
As a kid growing up, like I'd always heard of Cambridge, like all the smart people go to Cambridge and Oxford and all this, and but where I'm from, no one ever goes off to Oxbridge for anything. My year was quite exceptional in that 2 people went,
Whoa.
so it was a bit like, whoo.
Would you rather go to John's or Oxford?
I'm gonna say, that's actually quite hard. At Oxford, the music course, you don't have to do keyboard skills, I'm pretty sure.
Is that a
which
good
would be
thing?
a bonus. But then John's has like excellent music facilities.
I'm really impressed by how deeply she's thinking about this.
Linguistics is quite difficult, actually. To the phonemic representation, so how sound units are actually represented in the mind. And there's a very kind of interesting field of phonetic research about that, about how, we don't actually view speech just in terms of how it's written as an alphabet, but how it's represented in the mind as discrete phonetic units.
Wow.
We had a first year lecture on screaming orangutans and like whether or not we can consider that as music.
That sounds fascinating, honestly.
That was really bizarre, honestly. We were literally sitting there watching videos of orangutans shouting for like an hour. It was,
How far through the first year was this?
like a couple of months in.
Okay, so still new territory.
Yeah.
I've become friends with the bar staff.
That's
as
true.
well.
They are our true friends in this
They
game.
are lovely.
In the
They are very, very
ongoing
lovely.
war between the students and the staff of King's College, Cambridge, the bar staff are our allies. Yeah. Don't tell Kings I said that we're in a war.
I'm only actually one of 2, so another thing to look at is how many people are in your course in your college, because that can be a massive difference. I feel like it'd be nice to have like a lot more people and have a bit more camaraderie between people and stuff.
If you could describe Kings in one word, what would it be?
Gossipy.
Gossipy.
So much gossip. And also a lot of the colleges have this thing called like a college fest. King's Fest one on Facebook is just the most toxic thing I've ever seen. Like Queen's Fest is like really pleasant. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, saw so-and-so the other day. They look so cute in that dress, blah, 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 blah. And then King's Fest is like, can the beep stop doing beep, beep, beep.
I feel like the people that write those things are in a bad mood.
Yeah. Definitely a page full of menace.
Hi, I am Thomas Wilson. I'm a just finished second year King's engineering student
Very
at
nice.
Cambridge.
That is, in fact, where we are.
It really is.
My sixth form was very keen to start, increasing its Oxbridge intake, I guess. I did actually get a fair amount of support. I had kind of a mentor, and my school kind of, it was like a kind of state sixth form, but they were very supportive in terms of just kind of helping me out with just kind of all the queries and stuff, because, applying to Oxbridge can be a real kind of grey, just mammoth task.
I really just haven't been learning this year. Or
Very
the year
valid.
before. No.
Hertfordshire. So yeah, just north of London.
Yeah, she's true suburban commuter belt.
It's wonderful.
No. Kings in one word, what would it be?
Queer.
Nice.
Both in terms of like the LGBTQ plus representation, but also just in being different.
We're just
Like all the time, like it'll be so stressful that you forget that you actually enjoy your subject, but then you do parts of the subject that you actually like, and then you realize, wow, this is awesome. So
Okay. I do somewhat relate to that, yeah.
One thing that I found was really strange is because this year and last year we've been doing quantum physics, and it's all really interesting. But when it comes down to it, it's actually a lot. It's going to sound really pretentious, but it's a lot more simple than I thought it was, which I thought was really strange because a lot of things are just kind of probability.
Whoa.
It's more like Schrodinger's dice than Schrodinger's cat, really.
You will see one of these rivals later.
Exactly.
Southampton, lovely city. Did not win City of Culture this year. Oh, so upsetting.
Shame. Why wouldn't it? I don't know.
Every day that I've been here has felt like a miracle, felt like a blessing. I remember on my interview in December 2018, I remember sitting in my DOS's office and looking out over front court
Yeah.
and like seeing the people walking about, just bringing their Sainsbury's shopping in, going to hall, and just being like, wow, imagine if I was one of them, imagine if I was on the other side of this window. And so anytime I am on the other side of the window, I feel blessed.
What got you into Cambridge?
Probably one of my mental illnesses. I think it tends to be the admissions criteria.
Oh, she got a spreadsheet.
I mean, John's isn't King's.
Scones.
Scones.
Scones. Firm
Scones.
answer.
It's
Firm
scones.
answer.
I first met Liberty on the stairs in our first year accommodation.
I do maths.
Mm-hmm.
I like long walks on the beach.
My degree is...
Unhelpful. To be fair, it's not. It's
My teachers as well were like, oh, well, like, give it a go because you've like got what it takes, I think. So I was like, yeah, fine, I'll do it.
Nice.
And just went for it.
The sentimental answer is my history teacher, Mr. McTurnan. I think that honestly, that man, just the support he gave me was truly incredible, because where I come from in Grimsby, not many people come to Oxbridge.
And I live at home with my mum and my dog. My mum's a single parent, I'm an only child, and we live with our dog, a Cavachon, small, white, fluffy dog called Bella.
Let's try that again.
John's it's architecturally funky. They have a royal approval to eat swans. They haven't done so in a long while, based on our punt tour guide in residence.
And you just get wild opportunities. Like, I'm a punter, like on the river. Like, I do that in like my spare time when it's not term. You do the little facts and you give the little tours and
Get quite a lot of money.
yeah.
Maddie is the nerd of our friendship group, which is saying something because we're at Cambridge. I feel so called out. I don't know why. This is all just chaos, basically.
Oh no, Giselle found Harry in the oven.
What?
And after I got my GCSEs, I was surprised. I put in a bit of effort. Again, I'm running the meritocratic line here. From that point on, I kind of realised that I enjoyed writing essays or writing in general, and put that to good use.
This is why I was like, Lola, as the inhabitant of this room, you will be my guinea pig.
It's a lose-lose. Go for it.
Yeah, might as
what
well.
do you have to lose?
And-
Everything. Anyway.
Well, yeah. Also, even if you get in and try out and realise you hate it, you're allowed to drop out. It's not actually the end of the world.
You can take your first year here and go to another uni
Brilliant.
and start at second.
Best of both worlds.
Oh, Mike.
It's always very funny when people throw in pop culture references in their lectures.
She was talking about lip fillers and I was like, Amy, what's happening?
Well, I chose it because there were lots of people who did classics most years, which fell through because ours is the smallest year for classics. So.
Oh dear.
How do we feel about breaking the fourth wall?
What fourth wall?
My application was very interesting because although I applied to do physics, I didn't really have many like physics things to talk about.
I mean, I haven't learnt that much, so...
My name's Bob Hughes. I'm a final year historian, just finished, just graduating. And next year I'm going to be starting a 2-year master's at New York, in New York City, in design history, which is very exciting.
Very exciting. We're all very jealous.
How long do we get to think about this?
Just answer on the spot, please.
We've done some fun projects, like some fun engineering projects, the joys of STEM, but we're mainly looking at like the joys of STEM.
I really need to fix this. I know I said I was going to find the setting. Yes. Thank you. Okay. If you could describe Kings in one word, what would it be?
Indescribable.
Every day is interesting. You never know what you're going to find. You might think a reading list is boring, but you'll end up learning about toes.
I did lots of drama at school, so I did plays and musicals, and my drama teacher was really rigorous in doing those. We'd rehearse 2 hours after school every night, and then like a full day on a Sunday. So he'd like put us through the works with it. But as a result, I think it made me like really like resilient and also very committed to things.
What got you into Cambridge?
I don't know.
My name is Esme Haig. I'm from Blackpool. I'm a very proud northerner. Second year history politics.
We made a hilarious joke about rocks and then it was not even recorded. So
This is why we do the rocks.
we did.
I think there are more colleges at Oxford less insufferable than there are at Cambridge. Although the men I actually think are worse overall from my personal experiences there. But yeah, the overall vibe.
Some tales to tell.
I wish I had something to promote. Like a MASH night.
I'm from Grimsby, northeast Lincolnshire, born and raised. So it's like a very tiny kind of fishing town on the northeast coast. It's basically halfway between, it's hard to explain, halfway between here and Scotland. If you go to Scotland, you've gone too far. But.
I'm Alex Chu. I studied geography here at King's. And yesterday I described myself as a strange person over text.
Learn how to punt early on. It's a helpful skill.
Yeah. You do get lots of friends by being a good punter. It's true.
Or a job.
That's true. I was so confused. I thought a job would get you friends, but you're saying being good at punting would get you friends.
Depends on the job as well, I suppose.
Scones every time, and you put the cream on before the jam.
You're putting cranberries on scones. That's a new scandal.
This is going to sound so bad. I literally just showed up and was like, I didn't take my interview very seriously because I didn't want to come here. Like, this is terrible advice for, like, people who are applying. Like, take your interview seriously. I literally just walked in like I didn't care. It was really bad. My personal statement was awful. Like, it was genuinely terrible.
Okay, what I'm hearing is do not listen to Lola. Let's move on.
I was also going to say one of the strangest things about doing geography is no one seems to know what geography is.
I'm half Spanish and I'm half Canadian, but I've always lived in London, and I live in southwest London, I'd probably say.
My degree is
Terrible? No.
My sixth form were very good at kind of Oxbridge mentoring. I went to a sixth form called Barton, which was in competition with this other sixth form called Peter Simmons.
We've heard from Alex Provost already. He went to the competitor school. What was the name of your one?
Are we going sixth form or Peter Simmons?
I'm from Edinburgh, which is like south of Scotland. I have developed a southern English accent since I got here, which is extremely jarring.
No one else thinks it's English accent, but
just genuinely think about yourself as a person and then think, is this somewhere I want to go?
I actually hate the beach.
Do you?
I don't like water. Large bodies of water.
Very fair.
Well, Oxford and Cambridge are basically the same place. Yeah. So when I first came to Cambridge, it was a lot like working out where the Oxford equivalent was
of
to the
everything.
Cambridge place. Yeah.
I mean, we'd like to think of ourselves and we always strive to be LGBTQIA friendly. you know, friendly in all different aspects, really, compared to the other colleges. And even if we're not, the aim to do so is, I guess, the most important thing that will get you there.
That's so true. It's an admirable goal, if nothing else. My degree is
Awesome.
Everyone's more stressed than they say that they are.
I want to say John's, but saying that makes me upset.
Yeah.
It might be the other place.
Wow.
It might be the other place, because I feel like you could go to a college there that was less John's.
Oxford, easily.
It's very safe. I mean, the club night, I'm going to a Taylor Swift club night tonight, which starts at 8 p.m. in a tiny club, and I'm so excited.
I'm pretty definitive about this. I'd rather go to a respectable college at Oxford than go to John's.
Scones, but I don't really care that much.
Step one in all of our degrees has been, actually, we don't know anything.
We did general relativity this year, so we learned all about black holes and stuff, which was really, really cool. And then, but in it, like, we learned the maths behind how a black hole works and why that it's called a black hole, and it was all just incredible that it just came out of the maths.
Wow.
And they hadn't seen them until afterwards. Went looking in space and they found that there were holes where.
That's
like,
really
things
cool.
escape. Yeah, it's crazy. Who would have thought maths would actually be practical in the real world?
Life imitates maths.
Yeah.
I don't think I really had the choice to go somewhere else.
I was looking through my personal statement recently.
As you do.
Like, most of it was fine. I was quite happy with it. I was like, oh, I'm like written quite well.
Yeah.
Until we get to the final paragraph where I'm like, my mind is creative and innovative. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Well, lots in classics is quite strange. So I think I'm spoiled for choice.
The way I said Jane Eyre, which I hadn't read since I was maybe 15, and then somehow managed to recollect and good enough. I think that's what got me in. I think they were like, she can bullshit.
She can bullshit, and that's the only skill we need.
When I went to Oxford on the open day, it just felt too big. There was too much going on, and I felt like tiny. I was like, I never thought I could be comfortable there.
If you could describe King's in one word, what would it be?
Depop.
Hello, I'm Caitlin. I'm an English student in my second year at King's. I'm also a queer person, and I enjoy reading in my spare time as well. And
nerd.
And I'm also an avid booktube watcher, especially of Liberty Festival.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, this is
Big
honestly so big, and also very much tied up in my geography and my upbringing. So I say scone, because interestingly, I only discovered once I came here part of the trickiness of navigating the class relations of Kings.
Oh, that old thing.
Yeah. I discovered that in my region, scone is the working class way of saying the word, and scone is the middle class way of saying it. Whereas in the south,
it's the other way
scone is it's the other way around.
My degree is
Gay.
Just give it a try. And if you don't get in, it's literally no comment on you. I'm convinced that the interviews are a vibe check. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that colleges have like a stereotype. I think the interview was a vibe check. Like, the King's one was like, are they wearing enough Depop right now?
That's such a question. Probably Oxford.
Is that because your boyfriend goes there?
The answer is yes, but the answer is also no, not in that way.
Everyone should apply if they think they have a chance of getting in, and it could well be a really fun, funky time, really.
I get really confused by like which insects exist here. Like, that's a weird detail, but it's true. I'm really confused.
Isn't it true that like 90% of the species on the entire planet are insects? I think it is true. Anyway, if you could describe King's in one word, what would it be?
Paradoxical.
Okay, go on.
Well, it should be left wing, and yet somehow it simply is not.
Please tell the exhibition story. I desperately want to hear it.
Okay, so this starts off with a fun story where I accidentally applied for the wrong entrance exam. 5 days before, got emailed by the wonderful Brona being like,
by the way.
What have you done?
Yeah.
So that was fun. Like, had prepared for the completely wrong thing. I'd prepared for an essay exam, and it turned out to be like a reading comprehension. Granted, I was a fool. To be honest, by the time I got to the interview, for me, the stakes were low. I was like, there is no way they're going to let me in here.
Miracles have already happened.
I was like, I don't know how I'm here right now, because objectively, like, their first warning sign should have been she couldn't find our entrance exam that we told her about more than once.
It's my wonderful list of books. In my interview, I was asked, the first question I was asked was, what have you read? And I said, in general? And they went, no, just the list.
So it was like a kind of Princess and the Pauper situation where you're like, oh my God, I'm royalty.
Potentially. Is that a Disney film?
No, it's a Barbie film.
It's a Barbie film?
Yes.
Barbies do films?
Yes.
All over.
All over.
Yeah, I lived in England a bit when I was younger. I spent most of my life in Mongolia.
I'm Ava. I'm a second year English student and I come from Liverpool.
It's a tough one, I know.
That is the hardest, would you rather?
Nobody that says they're a Marxist is a Marxist.
It's important. Well, my name probably, Fabrizio De Vito. I'm a proud Yorkshireman, so I'm from Halifax in West Yorkshire. And I'm at King's studying MML, so that's French and German.
Oxford.
Straight out the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Nah, yeah. No, I would,
No.
like on Tinder, on Hinge, like, you see a John's boy, they're gone.
They're gone.
You can't go there.
No.
No.
That was so much fun.
Thank you.
Medieval French literature, I still can't get my head around that, so that's probably the strangest thing.
Yeah. Why do you study that?
You have to.
I think that geography is great. I think especially here, like a mix of everything, I think, and you learn some really, really cool things, and I think everyone just thinks it's colouring in, so yeah.
The slander.
Yeah, exactly.
Scones.
You sound doubtful.
Scones.
Scones. Do you have any final thoughts about Cambridge you want to share with the people?
No, not really.
Okay, thank you.
Why don't look at me like that?
John's or Oxford?
I'd rather not go to university.
Between those two, no answer at all.
No.
Hating on John's and Oxford in this house.
Like, getting rid of gowns doesn't mean that you're an activist college.
She said the truth and only the truth.
In the Renaissance, they believed in the one-sex gender model, which basically meant that they thought that women had penises inside them but hadn't reached a degree of heat so that the penis fell out. So there's loads of like study, like documentations of women like running around and then getting to a degree of heat that a penis just drops out of them underneath the skirt. But obviously that's not true. People just, you wore different clothes than were allocated to their gender.
I mainly talked my personal statement about, I did an EPQ in linguistics.
That is not physics.
Well, it's specifically on how emoji have the potential to be a language. I had to show a lot of my teachers the aubergine emoji.
I'd have to choose John's because I live in Oxford, so I'd bump into my parents and
very awkward.
That wouldn't be good.
No. What got you into Cambridge?
My predicted grades, because I didn't do the A-level exams. But yeah, like I said, you can't really look past the prestige and the kind of the pull of Cambridge, because ultimately it's a pretty nice place to be, especially when you're not doing exams.
Yes.
That's one thing I've found, being in Cambridge with nice weather and without work is absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's when you're actually doing the degree.
No, I'm the most camp I'm ever going to be. So
Get that on camera. This is why I love Kings. Everyone, like most people here, are deeply aware of their relative privilege in the world, and I really appreciate that.
Am I?
You are now on camera. Ooh. Whoa.
Well, initially, I was from Glasgow, because I was born in Glasgow. And then moved down to Southampton when I was 5, which was the opening to my personal statement.
Everyone here is like, whoa, my friends are all so cool. And then we're like, so are you.
Probably my favourite thing is Ely Cathedral. And what I loved about this was hearing about in the medieval times, because I'm a medievalist at heart.
We have to do like at least one pre-1751. Yeah, no, I know.
There was a way in which wages of monks were calculated in terms of how many eels they would get, because there were lots of eels in the canals around Ely. And so I remember in my lecture saying, oh, it truly is an Ely cathedral. And I did not get a laugh. Yeah, it really stuck with me.
Did it stick with you because it was a good fact or because you're embarrassed?
I was very embarrassed.
Scones.
Straight out of the bat.
As brilliant as Cambridge is, I'm looking forward to getting away from my year abroad. So I'll be back in a year, and I'm sure I'll be raring to go all over again.
I always hate when people ask for an interesting fact because I don't have any.
That is a full and utter lie.
In terms of the students, just like very champagne socialist, I think, very much lives up to that reputation.
Weekends are actually worse than weekdays in my thoughts. I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough.
In what way?
Just like nothing's happening. The cafe's closed. The bar is closed on Sundays. And then there's just like tourists everywhere in the city, and it's just like trying to swim through people.
If you could describe Kings in one word, what would it be?
Depop edgy.
Depop edgy. That feels familiar, folks.
Depop?
Depop doesn't make you cool.
Wow. And going to Kings doesn't make us cool either. Sad.
Yeah. If you're like vaguely considering geography, you don't have to do any physical in second year.
Scones.
Hi, my name's Subo.
Scones.
What did I just do?
Control Z.
As a non-nightlife goer myself, I have never noticed this, but I also appreciate the fact that I am boring. Introduce yourself with whatever you think is important.
I'm Alex. And that's what you need to know.
My name is Elizabeth, and I do classics.
I'm a second year undergrad with Liberty.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of rambling around and about on the hills near where I live.
There are some universities, and obviously Cambridge is one of them, that kind of people see as the, I don't know if the pinnacle is the right word, but kind of an aim to strive towards. And sort of kind of halfway through A level, I thought, I'm not too bad at doing these languages, so may as well give it a try.
I got good GCSE results. I was predicted good A-level results, and I'm very, very interested and passionate about lots of subjects, but particularly English and politics.
It's very different from the traditional Cambridge background, and there just seems to be a lot of people here who are very different to the Cambridge stereotype and very unique as well. I think what was really nice when I came was that I felt like everybody in my year had their own personality, and yet somehow they all managed to gel together and get on with each other.
When I was 11, me and my family visited, and I remember we were sat on King's Parade, and I was like, it was mostly the fudge shop and the sweet shop that caught my interest. And I remember my parents saying like, oh, Bob, like I could imagine you like cycling about in your gown and this and that. And so I feel like my vision of what interested me in Cambridge was not so much the academics or the rigor of it all, but just the fantasy of like being here. Yeah.
Fill in the blank. My degree is...
Linguistics.
What?
What would you want me to say?
Varied.
Varied.
Yeah, I think MML is quite notorious for being bits of everything.
If you have a certain impression of it, it's not going to be accurate. Of course, you can never imagine something properly until you get here.
Beware of the punt tour guides, because they say a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Don't believe them. If you're coming on a random day to get a tour of Cambridge and you go on the punts, you're going to get lies.
Yeah.
I'm a punter, like on the river.
Daisy from Great Gatsby.
Yeah. That's all a girl can be in this world. A beautiful fool.
Oh, no.
I was born in America. I've never lived there, though. I don't know many things about America, except the accent.
Where did the accent come from, then?
I'm a very stubborn person.
Hating on Oxford is by default across Cambridge and then at King's. John's and Trinity are the ones that you need to do that on.
I mean, people always talk about the rivalry between Trin and John's, but...
No, I mean...
We hate them more.
It's a rivalry that's kind of beneath King's, I think.
Full foot.
Oh, one of our lecturers is obsessed with the first time a foot was shown like in a frontal way on a Greek vase.
Wow.
So the idea of that is that you see like just circles for toes.
Yeah. And that's wild.
Yeah, and it's like a seminal point.
I just feel like even the straightest pieces of literature can be read gay.
Anything.
And should be.
And should be. That's the crucial element here. You and Ava have said many times you've basically done every essay on queerness / being a woman.
Yeah. And often both.
If you could describe Kings in one word, what would it be?
I'd hyphenate not as left-wing as it thinks it is.
I think that's really frightening and really inaccessible. Inaccessible particularly to people just like me who come from the middle of nowhere. Like, I was born and raised on a farm. My dad is a farmer. You know, people like me don't fit into the idea of Cambridge. And yet I feel like in the same, on the other side of the same coin, it's like if you imagine Cambridge to be somewhere you belong and be somewhere you can thrive, then you can do it if you just believe it. That sounded so cheesy.
It's all a confusing experience, really. The whole application process is like, I don't know what's happening, and neither do you.
Well, for my name, it's not really a typical English name. So my both sides of my family from Italy. So having lived in England my entire life, I've picked up a few English quirks.
Damn.
This was fun. We were just having a fun chat about museums, and I may have accidentally slightly insulted, well, kind of, the exhibition that my interviewer was involved in. So that was funny. That was bad.
I'm the interviewer, I'm not interviewing you. We're all back off. Is anyone interviewing you? No. I might get later to do it at the end if I'm not dead by then, but I kind of thought
I think you should do that for
Speak up in supervisions and think about them as an opportunity. You're paying $9,000 here. Like, email people when you have questions. You're paying $9,000. Like, talk up in a supervision because you're paying $9,000, and like go to your lectures because you're paying $9,000, and just see everything as an opportunity for you because you're here and you deserve to take them.
Rochester's erotic poetry, like A Ramble in St James's Park, which is possibly the most misogynistic piece of writing I've ever read in my life.
And there's a lot of those.
Yes.
I hate using the word vibe too much, but the general vibe.
The general vibe.
They take into account the general vibe of the human.
Yeah. Well, Maddie did say that she thought the interview was actually just a vibe check.
I'm convinced that the interviews are a vibe check.
I agree with that.
Would you rather go to John's or Oxford?
Oh my God.
That's caught you off guard.
That's a loaded question. You know what? Even though it pains me, I would say John's, only because I love the city of Cambridge so much that I would rather be in the hellhole that is the Tory hellhole than in Oxford.
And then they put a bowl of oranges in front of me and were like, okay, if you're going to make an exhibition on this here bowl of oranges, how would you go about it? Blacked out from there, don't know what happened. Weird question, really confusing.
I think I did my EPQ on something I was really interested in. And I think that's really important. Be prepared to talk about that in your interview.
Who said scones?
Well, do you know what I just found out from Bob? My degree is
tepid. Sorry, it's such a good adjective, tepid. It is just like there is absolutely nothing going on there, nothing interesting, no thoughts, head empty. But
as the kids would say,
as
mid.
the kids would say.
Misunderstood.
Okay, elaborate on that one.
And disrespected.
So yeah, my two main motivators in life are stubbornness and spite.
I chose my college based on the professors of geography that were here.
The cream before the jam, and
jam.
it's scones.
I disagree with the cream before the jam, but we don't need to talk about that.
No.
Anyway, describe Kings in one word.
Corporatized. Kings is just like a corporate girl.
In my second interview, I had 2 interviews. I was trying to do this math problem, something about asymptotes. And then this French guy said, no. And he said the exact same thing I said, but he said going from above. And then I proceeded to spend maybe the next 5 minutes of the interview yelling at this man and him shouting back at me because, you know, I'm a stubborn, spiteful person and he's French.
Hard. Sorry, I literally just finished exams yesterday. It is also fun and many other things, but I literally finished yesterday. So
Still
in my
feeling the
current
terror.
state, hard, normally fun.
If we're believing in the meritocracy.
Exactly. If we believe in the meritocracy. I didn't get the best GCSEs in my school. Indeed, I was probably not in the top 10 achievers.
My degree is wonderful.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. It just gives you the freedom to really look at anything and everything that you want to. And I feel I've really, like, even in the way I'm going into more art-based histories in my master's, really just kind of testifies to the way I was able to explore things I'd never really done before and looking at the past through new lenses. So I've loved the freedom and the exploration that it's allowed.
Oxford, but I don't think John's is that bad. I think it gets too much shit. I think it's got some really good bursaries, got like a decent amount of biodiversity, and it's pretty, so
Yeah.
not too bad.
Don't date a John's boy.
Full stop. Okay.
I'm going to say scones, and I don't even know if that's the correct way. That's the way people perceive as the less posh way.
Yeah.
So that's why I go for that one.
There's a lot of thought behind this.
Mhm.
Yeah, Amelia says give up on the debate. It's done.
I think so. Only because like I say tomato still, and like I
Yeah.
get so much shit for it. I just wanna whatever you say is fine. You know, live your
Multicultural
life.
background.
Exactly.
But mostly the interview was just like you got to chat with people who really loved what you want to study, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
But also I made mistakes.
If you could describe Kings in one word, what would it be?
Slay.
Slay.
I struggle to define slay.
Slay is also a mindset.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. So I think the many meanings
Yeah.
slay embodies just contributes towards the kind of King's mindset.
Liverpool!
On the one hand, we are very prestigious. We are the top 3 in terms of when you think of the most famous ones. So that is a pro in a way, I guess. You get the clout.
I think Cambridge is less of a place. This is crazy, but it is less of a place and more of an idea.
One of my favourite parts of this whole experience so far for me was definitely doing the fruit ball, organising the LGBTQ plus annual dinner, which Oscar termed the fruit ball.
It's like The Office.
It is The Office. There's definitely an image of Cambridge, and like you say, that was kind of what was spurring you on to come here.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, it can be anything. What's the strangest thing you've learned about so far?
In my course or life?
Well, I've actually got to speak to the people who interviewed me and looked over, and they remembered, and they were saying that I stood out because of a combination of both my interview, which they thought went well, which I did not think went well, and also the essays that you hand in prior.
Hang on, the lamp is literally on your head right now.
I never grew up being like, oh, I definitely want to go to like Oxbridge or anything like that. It was literally like one meeting in a careers advisor office when I was 17, and she said, oh, like, are you applying to Oxford or Cambridge? And I was just like, what?
Flexible thinking, and you get to explore avenues that you wouldn't normally go down, I think. Yeah, some of my essays, they go off on tangents. So, yeah, wide thinking.
Well, I was born in Middlesbrough originally, but I've spent most of my life living in a little town in Northumberland called Alnwick.
I am from Southampton in the south.
As the name suggests. What got you into Cambridge?
My brain.
That's very true. She has a large one.
So yeah, if it's clubbing that you're looking for at uni, maybe give it a miss. But
maybe a better way to think about it is what would you change about it, or what would you make Cambridge, I suppose?
I know what you mean. Like, you know, Cambridge is a place that's ever changing. So
definitely,
yeah.
It's very student-led.
I feel like that would change depending on when you ask me that in term. Like, don't ask me that after exams. I'll say some mean things.
If I don't stop, it probably takes about 4 hours and a half. I once did it in 4 hours and 24 minutes.
Were you speeding?
If we count for the 10%, then no, but...
I am from Blackpool, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.